This little girl could have ended up on the list of millions of other African children who die every year, but fate gave her a chance. 17 years ago, Hollywood superstar Angelina Jolie adopted Zahara. She left an orphanage in Africa and moved into a luxurious mansion in California. But her life was far from perfect. What challenges did Zahara face, and what is happening with her now? To find out all the details, keep watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any new videos. Let's get started. Ethiopia is one of the poorest countries in the world, with more than 4 million orphan children, many of whom are forced to live on the streets and lack access to necessary resources, such as food, water, and education. Among these children was a 6-month-old girl named Zahara, who lived in an orphanage and suffered from malnutrition. Without help, she probably would not have survived, and if she had, she would have had a difficult future, perhaps involving work in a sugar factory. However, an accident completely changed her life when Hollywood star Angelina Jolie decided to adopt this little girl in 2005. She was dating Brad Pitt at the time and had already adopted 3-year-old Maddox from Cambodia. The actress was known for her charity work and participation in missions around the world to help children. After seeing 6-month-old Zahara, Jolie was immediately fascinated by her and decided to adopt the child. At the time, it was reported that the girl was an orphan, as her mother died shortly after giving birth. According to some reports, the cause of death was hemorrhage, and according to others, AIDS. The girl's father was unknown. Zahara's only relative was her grandmother, Almaz Blin, who lived with her 3 daughters in Awaz, a town lost under the scorching sun. All their lives they lived in an old 1-room shack with no telephone or electricity. The roof was leaky, the walls were crumbling, and they had to use a burner outside to cook food. There were no conveniences. Her grandmother raised Zahara for the first 4 months of her life, but then she realized that she would not be able to feed the child, as she had only $9 a month. So she gave the girl to an orphanage, where she was at least fed. When the grandmother learned that Angelina Jolie would adopt her granddaughter, she was happy and did not try to return the child. The 45-year-old woman couldn't read or write, but all she asked for was to send her a picture of her overachieving granddaughter one day. "All I want is for Miss Angelina to send me a picture of my granddaughter one day, so I can remember her and those beautiful big brown eyes. They are just like my daughter's eyes," the grandmother said. Unfortunately, in some African countries, people are forced to put their children in other hands just because they can't feed them. It's horrible. Life can be cruel. But this story has a happy ending. Zahara, a girl who previously lived in a shack and worked for $1 a day, had the luck of her life. If she had stayed in her own home, she probably never would have learned to read and write. However, Zahara's fate changed when she was adopted by famous actors Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt, who returned to the United States with her. Since then, she has lived in true luxury. But her real happiness is her family. Brad Pitt became her official adoptive father, and Zahara got the Jolie Pitt double last name. Her new parents love her very much. However, the girl's life was far from ideal, despite all the blessings she had received. From the first days after her adoption, she was surrounded by the attention of the press, which followed her every step. The paparazzi waited for Angelina Jolie and her adopted daughter wherever they appeared. But worst of all, reporters began to spread the falsehood that the family was trying to bring the girl back to Ethiopia. They brutally manipulated the poverty of her biological family to create this story. But another huge revelation from Zahara's life soon came to light: her biological mother was alive. Mentwab Dawit was interviewed by reporters, revealing that she had become pregnant through no fault of her own. But unfortunately, the girl's life was not as perfect as it might have seemed. From the first days she was surrounded by the media, the paparazzi waited for her wherever she went. But worst of all, the journalists fabricated a story that the family was supposedly trying to bring the girl back to Ethiopia. They brutally manipulated the family's poverty. Another extraordinary circumstance from Zahara's life soon came. The woman gave an interview to journalists, telling that she had become pregnant by an abusive man and gave birth to a baby girl, which she then gave to her grandmother because she could not feed her. "I never challenged Angelina Jolie's adoption of my child. I think my daughter is very lucky to have been adopted by a world-famous woman. I wish them both the success they deserve," she said in 2007. Zahara grew up in a large and close-knit family. Jolie soon adopted another child and also gave birth to 3 children. Zahara has 5 siblings. However, in 2017, when she was 12 years old, her birth mother showed up. In 2017, Zahara's biological mother, who was having a hard time bearing her, unexpectedly contacted Jolie and asked for permission to see her child. She asked just to talk to her daughter, but as we know, Zahara does not communicate with her biological mother, considering her real mother to be the one who raised her. Nevertheless, Zahara has visited her native Ethiopia several times, including a special visit in 2019, when she met with the country's first female president to discuss Ethiopia's culture and history. Jolie believes foster children should know their roots, but she did not allow Zahara to see her biological mother because she believed it could be harmful to her. Today is Zahara's 17th birthday. She is the humblest of all the actress's children and has never been the cause of scandal. You could say that she is the most balanced person in her family, but at the same time, her mother can be proud of her. Zahara created her own jewelry collection, voiced Meng Meng in the movie Kung Fu Panda 3, and helped her mother with her charity work. She is currently attending the prestigious Spelman College in Atlanta, and Jolie is very proud of her accomplishments. "My daughter is from Ethiopia, one of my children, and I've learned so much from her. She's my family. But she's also an extraordinary African woman, and her connection to her country, her continent, is her own thing," Jolie said. Of course, some people continue to criticize Jolie for adopting a girl who was not an orphan, but was removed from her family. However, as you can see, this African girl's life has turned out incredibly well. As to whether or not Zahara should communicate with her birth mother is Zahara's personal decision, but she is not currently in contact with her, as she believes that her real mother is the one who raised her, not the one who gave birth to her. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to share your thoughts, like and subscribe to the channel. See you all again.